The PvP beta for Overwatch 2 is just around the corner now, and we still only know of the 4 hero reworks that are coming along with the beta, along with the changes to Reinhardt and Winston. They are both getting updated to be slightly more capable at fighting at longer ranges, with Winston getting a new alternate fire in the form of a lightning bolt that charges up and allows him to snipe an enemy that is just out of reach. Reinhardt, on the other hand, is getting a second use of his fire strike, alongside his charge receiving some updates that will allow him to maneuver himself around corners better and allow him to cancel it partway through. Off-tanks like D.Va and Zarya will be getting some tweaks to give their defensive abilities more value so that they can provide more to their team as a solo tank. D.Va will be receiving a longer duration for her defense matrix so she can block a larger amount of damage, and Zarya will be getting 2 charges of her particle barriers that can either be used on herself or to save 2 of her teammates instead. My personal assumptions for the changes that we will see to the tank role are as follow. Tanks will receive a slight increase to their health pool or have more armor added to their health pool in order to compensate for the loss of the second tank in the team. Alongside these changes, the cooldowns for the tank heroes will be altered, with a fair amount of them being shorter with their potency reduced so that they aren't too powerful. The damage for most tanks, in my opinion, will remain the same apart from heroes like Wrecking Ball, who may get a slight damage buff in order to help assist him in getting eliminations as a single tank. My predictions for how the game will be played during the beta are the following. Shields being less prevalent with the removal of a second tank may mean that either more fights will happen and some maps may turn extremely scrappy, or the pace of the game in some situations may slow down dramatically as the loss of a teammate will have more of an impact. The passive role buffs may also end up having a much bigger impact on the game than people seem to realise, especially with what is being given to both tank and support. Tanks will be receiving an overall knockback reduction and will provide less ultimate charge to anyone that shoots them. These changes will help stop tanks from getting bullied as much during hectic teamfights, as in Overwatch 1, a tank can be stunned by the entire enemy team and wiped out instantly, and heroes like Roadhog will stop being a walking ult battery for the enemy to leech off of. Supports will gain automatic healing after taking no damage for a short time, though it will be at a slower rate of healing than Mercy's passive ability. This will help each support be more self-sustaining, as they no longer have to rely on their own abilities, a health pack, or on their other support to help keep them alive. The damage roll, also known as DPS, will be getting a movement speed bonus that will allow them to close the gap between them and a much needed elimination much quicker. Just to make sure people realise, these are not confirmed changes. These are ideas that I have had, and are purely speculation as to how the devs could change some of the heroes for Overwatch 2. And now, to finally begin the list, we will start off at the tanks and we will begin with Roadhog. Roadhog has been somewhat problematic during his time in the game. He started off as a rather powerful tank with a hook that felt like it could traverse space and time, pulling you past walls and floors, and could probably pull you from Route 66 to Ilios if you managed to land it. Since then, however, he managed to get toned down a fair amount, but is still just a chunky DPS instead of being a tank that can help support the team. As of right now, in Overwatch 1, his inclusion into a game typically sees the game end up turning into a deathmatch more often than not. The general playstyle for Roadhog has seen him go on flanks in an attempt to land a hook on an enemy that is out of position, or to puncture the front line of the opposing team in order to remove a key piece of their composition. In organised play, however, he has seen a more complementary playstyle when paired with tanks like Wrecking Ball, Orisa, Sigma and Zarya, where they help him to either land a well-placed hook that potentially shuts the fight down before it even begins, or to become an aggressive barreling force that spearheads a push through the enemy team. However, this playstyle will no longer be possible with the removal of the second tank that will come alongside Overwatch 2. The removal of the second tank, and how shields will be less prevalent within the game, means that Roadhog will be having to take more of a frontline presence with his team, or at least we're assuming that this will be the case. His kit will end up needing to be readjusted for the solo tank life anyway, and beginning with his Take a Breather ability would be a solid place to start. Changing his Take a Breather ability to have slightly more focus on being around his team rather than by himself will be a welcome change. altering it to release a gas cloud that heals teammates while also making it heal for a small percentage more for each teammate he is stood near to could help him become a new version of the lethal bruiser that he once was, while also helping his team stay alive during teamfights. Changing any parts of his hook and weapon may end up being dangerous to the balance of the game, as overtuning any part of them may send us back to the old days of Overwatch, where being hooked and headshot ended up being a death sentence for near enough every single character on the hero roster. At one point, I did actually have the thought of moving him to the damage role as a replacement for Doomfist, as he is now becoming a tank. However, after putting more thought into it, I don't think he could be balanced to be a DPS without changing his entire kit, and I feel like it would be easy to create a whole new hero, as Roadhog's identity is arguably tied to his hook, especially when you consider the history that the hook has had.
Yeah, I wish we could have seen what had happened to the rest of Envy during that little chase. They did remove Harry Hook from the fight. Taimu gonna look for a hook right. He's gonna fight
there's one. Taimu gets one, and there's a whole hog pushing a Freaka Blue back again. They want to take this payload out right here, right now. Adam very low. Nice right click from Taimu right into another one. And Taimu, the hero on this Roadhog right now.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more Overwatch 2 content. Thank you for watching.